Joshua Selman said, faith in the marketplace is spelled R-I-S-K, risk. And that is what I'm going to be talking about today. Faith-based risks. Hello everyone, happy day to you, morning, afternoon or night where you're watching this from. I'm still speaking to my Gen Zs, and my name is Aanu Growth Series, and this is a series that I've captioned 30 lessons I learned before 30. And today I'm going to be talking about faith-based risks. This is a very interesting topic for me, and I think it's important to put that out there for you because the marketplace is what I consider like a dog-eat-dog world, and the blessings actually only come to those that take actions. However, when do you know when it's the right time to take actions? How do you know you should move? Should we even move at all? And that's why I've captioned this title, faith-based risks. I'm going to talk a little bit about risks first. Risk is a situation where your plans, in my definition though, I should have looked in Webster's dictionary, but in my definition, risks poses a situation where the results of an action are not fully perfect. They are not guaranteed to bring you 100% of the expected result, but you have to do it. Or maybe not, maybe you don't, which is where many people in my generation are. They wait for someone else to take the action, then they follow. But the system, the world system, does not reward people who take the second place. One of the movies, it rewards though, but I'm talking about in the context of where I'm talking about now. I was watching a movie, Three Idiots, a long time ago. I think it was in that movie, and the principal was talking to one of the students, and he says, who was the first man to step on the moon? And everyone was quick to say the name of the first man to step on the moon. And then the professor said, who was the second man? And nobody knew. Of course, a whole lot of people have stepped on the moon since the first man did, but that's where we're talking about. Risk is you going when you are not sure of all the parameters, but it's the fact that is presented to you. Mark Zuckerberg said, not taking a risk itself is a very big risk. Well, I just saw that. I'm sure he's not the first person to say it, but I just saw a quote by him. Most of the people who have become great in their own terms in life, in the corporate space, in the spiritual space, in the church space, in the industry, in technology, in medical sciences, and all of those things, most of the people that have become great are people who have taken risks. You cannot be an innovator if you don't take risks. I think it was Albert Einstein. They mentioned that he did an experiment that failed a whole lot of times, and they asked him, are you not bothered that this experiment failed? He said no, they did not fail. He just learned the number of ways those things are not going to work. So the question is, do you want to put your mark in the sands of time? Do you want time to pass by and then they mention that at a certain point, this person passed? Or do you just want to be, I wouldn't say at the back. Do you just want to be somewhere where you are being moved by the waves of the system? AI is here, artificial intelligence. People are predicting, 1,000 people are going to lose jobs. 1,000,000 people are going to lose jobs. This is going to happen. This is going to be abolished. Do you want to be part of those who have to react to what the world presents? Or do you want to be a part of those who cause that wave? That's the question. So the benefits of you taking the risk is easy, is simple. You are the one that created the wave. So you are the one that knows how best to navigate it. You remember the last time I said that a ship is safe at the shore or the harbor, but that's not what ships were made for. So who are you? If you are not going to be able to take risks, then you are going to swerve a lot in life. You're going to have to swerve a lot in life. Then you would hear, everybody is doing AI. Let me go and do AI. Everybody is learning nursing. Let me go and learn nursing. Everybody is becoming a lawyer. Let me go become a lawyer. No. We talked about purpose a long time ago. The first thing is learn your purpose. And the other titles we've talked about. But now, if you have learned what your purpose is, it is essential that you become a voice in that field. If God has called you to become a doctor, you should ask yourself, what problem am I coming in there to solve? I'm not just coming in there and they say, everybody, you become the staff of a federal hospital. Everybody, we go, they are not paying us, we go, you go. Everybody, they pay us, let's come back to work. No, that's not what God has created us for. The Bible says in 1 Peter 2 verse 9, you are a chosen generation, a royal people, a holy nation, a peculiar people, to show forth the praises of him who has called us out of the darkness into his marvelous light. God has called us to be the light out of the darkness. When people are suffering in the world, you are the one that is supposed to be providing them hope. So the problem now is when people who are suffering are waiting for you to be the hope for them, but even you are suffering with them, or you are even suffering more than them. I'm just trying to bring out that to charge your spirit. Faith, like I said earlier, is spelt risk. Risk is you cannot deny risks. You need to be ready to take risks. You arriving in the world is a risk because there are sicknesses and diseases everywhere. So if you don't take the risks, so what are we talking about? That being said, let's now talk about faith-based risks, right? Because there are crazy things you're going to have to do that everybody is going to tell you this is a bad idea. Even your parents are going to tell you this is a bad idea. Well, I'm not saying don't listen, right? And this is where it becomes faith-based risks, right? You need to have faith. And of course, you need to pray. There are certain people that eventually need to give you the go ahead, or else don't go. Maybe it's not the right time for it, right? But what I'm trying to say is there are decisions you will make. And people will call meeting. Your friends are going to call a meeting behind your back and say, we think our friend is going crazy. And those kind of risks, you really need to be sure you've heard from God. I'm going to just share one story and maybe I'll just wrap it up. I know I did talk about when I had to go to my NYSC and I came back, and I discovered that organization has been shut down in one day. When I was working in that organization, something else happened. I got another job, and it was a great job. In short, the job I got was paying 5 times my current salary. The problem, however, was that they were going to try me for 3 months. If I'm good in the first 3 months and they got money to pay me, then I'll continue to work there. But here I am in a situation where I have job security, where everything is going well. There's growth, there's everything. Nothing is gonna make them fire me. And I'm talking 12 years ago. If I was still working there, I would probably still be working there. I would have job security, I would be growing and all of those things. But here I am, presented with another opportunity, 5 times my salary. But they had to try me for 3 months. I spoke to my manager at that point. My manager said, no, you can't take that much time off. You gotta go resign. And I was like, no, sir. At this point, there are people in the organization that get approval for 6 months, 1 year, and all of those things. But somehow my manager just said, no, if you leave, you have to resign. So life was right in front of me. And before I would get to that point in this organization where I was working, where I was going to be making 5 times my salary, I would have to work 22 years. So I got 22 years of my life looking at me. I was a young man, I wasn't married, right? Maybe that was why it was easy for me to take the decision. No, it wasn't. And do I stick to job security, or do I jump the ship and go for my new life? What if after 3 months they say, we are sorry? Where do I go to? The employment market is never stable. What do I do? And God, by God's favor, I left. I resigned. Cut the long story short, I worked in that new organization for almost 10 years from a 3-month decision. So again, this is a situation where your siblings, your parents are going to call you and say, is life about money? Why do you want to leave job security to go to another place? I'm going to tell you the rest of the story later. Of course, this is 30 lessons I learned before 30. All I'm trying to say is faith-based risks are a necessity. You need to move. When the children of Israel were leaving Egypt, they had not seen the promised land. None of them had seen the promised land. But Moses came and said, God is taking us to promised land, and they followed. Martin Luther King said, faith is you climbing the first step of a staircase without knowing what is at the rest of the journey. Let that sink in. You need, at the point, 1, to be ready to take risks. The world always rewards risk takers. They have to take the hits for it anyways. I was told that the reason why 7-Up was called 7-Up is because they had failed the first 6 times. That's why they are 7-Up. So the world always rewards those that take risks. The question is, do you want to be rewarded, or do you want to be part of those that will be swerved? Economy swerve, you swerve. Employment swerve, you swerve. Do you want to be a decision maker, or do you want to be a reactive person? And that's my question for you today. I don't have anything much for you. I just want to ask you, are you gonna be a risk taker? Most importantly, and more especially, faith-based risks. You may have questions about where to start from. Of course, I wouldn't suggest you start from the dangerous place. Pastor Bojo Yemade, who I also follow a lot, he said, one thing that can strengthen your faith is if God says go, if God says jump down, it's okay for you to ask God, can I throw this phone and see if you can catch the phone before I jump? Right? Again, there are situations where if God knows you can do it, you don't need to ask questions, just go. But if you're not so sure, it's okay to ask God, can I throw this phone down? Let's see if you'll catch it. Because that will boost my faith, because I know you are there and then you can catch me if I jump, right? But my main mission here is to put inside you as a person less than 30 puts inside you the need for you to realize that the world system rewards risk takers. In the corporate space, in the church space, in the spiritual organization space, in volunteering, in industry, the world only rewards risk takers. Don't forget this. My name is Aanu Growth. There's a lot I want to say, but let's keep it short. I'll see you in the next episode of this podcast, and here is our series 30 lessons I learned before 30. See you in the next episode, which will be very interesting, I promise you.